Hi, everybody. Welcome to the current episode of Your Winning Edge. I'm Skip Balch, your host with Sales Handicapper. Today, we've got a very special guest, Nick Biaggio. Nick is in the heart of Silicon Valley. He's leading a startup in the area of the insurtech space, and it's truly with emphasis on the tech side of it. And with that, I'm going to introduce you to Nick Biaggio. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Skip. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. When you and I talked previously, I was really taken by the fact that you are really in a new taking insurtech to the very next, to the nth degree at this point, and kind of some of the things that you're doing. Why don't you take just a moment and kind of share how you got to where you are right now with with your company?
Yes. So my company is called Harper Insurance. We are the first native AI insurance brokerage company. And myself, I'm an insurance broker by trade. I've been in the insurance business for my whole career. And I'll tell you a little bit, Skip, of how I made the jump and why I made the jump over to where I'm at and kind of what we're doing. So been a career sales management, executive leadership in the insurance brokerage business for over 25 years. As I kind of looked at the landscape and look how fast the world's changing. I mean, the speed of light is an understatement, how fast AI technology is growing. The insurance business, and I'm an insurance broker, the insurance brokerage business is very ripe for the need for AI, right? There's a lot of administrative tasks, and the insurance brokerage business whole has been kind of slow to adapt to technology. As I've seen kind of the workflows and how kind of larger companies and mid-sized insurance brokers operate, it was kind of built in a different generation, Skip, right? Like the foundation was built in like the 80s or 90s, I would say, or probably before that. And with what's coming down the pipeline with AI, the infrastructure, the speed of light that things are operating at, I was thinking in my insurance careers, how are we going to be able to adapt to what's coming our way? And I was really concerned that some of those old style of workflows, the old style of the way that insurance business is done, it's going to fall down to some much faster, quicker technologies. So I met Dakota and Tushar. They're our founders. They kind of explained to me their mission, and it made a lot of sense to me. So I decided to take the jump to Harper, Skip.
So what's interesting about that is that you came from the industry, which to your point is like other really legacy industries. It's taken a while for the healthcare industry to change. It's taken a while for the finance. So I guess finance probably has been the leading edge, personal finance and banking and so forth. But what was interesting to me was, there are fundamental steps that have to get taken anytime you're going to write a commercial. And you guys are just strictly commercial,
We are
correct?
strictly
Right.
commercial.
Okay. So there are fundamental steps, rules, highly regulated industry
Yes.
that you have to follow. And when you look at all of those different steps that you have to take, from a company standpoint, if you're doing it from an analog perspective, if you're doing it manually, okay, you got to be able to get enough revenue off of even an initial engagement to be able to pay for the cost of actually writing the policy and everything else, right? And so that's where the whole bundling thing came in, right? We're going to bundle, you're going to get a bit of a discount, right? And but you have to buy multiple. You guys, if not, you guys have turned that on its head.
Yeah, so one of the things that we saw and our founders really are passionate about is that they tried to buy insurance for their companies as they were building companies in prior life, and it's difficult for a small business in America to get insurance. It's they don't understand what they're getting. They're usually not getting the right coverage. And I have some good examples for you too, Skip, of just, you're trying to explain insurance to people that, quite frankly, it's not easy to get to understand what you're actually insuring. You buy a general liability policy, most people don't know what it actually covers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're buying
Yeah.
it just to try to satisfy a contract usually. So, we have an example. We were, a few weeks ago, a taco shop in North Carolina called in, and they said, I thought I had
So you said a taco shop in North Carolina. You guys can operate in all 50 states.
all 50 states we operate
That's
in, yeah.
interesting. Okay, great. Okay, go
So
ahead.
they
I'm sorry.
called in the other day and they're like, hey, I have insurance. My broker won't call me back. this is probably a policy that's bringing $50 to $100 to the broker. So as you can imagine, some brokers aren't going to be running to the phone to make sure to call somebody back. But they purchased a general liability policy, but the restaurant actually sold liquor too, so they're going to get shut down by the state because they didn't have the proper licenses to operate. So they
Okay.
called us at 9 in the morning, and by 3:30 we got them liquor liability insurance that they needed to stay in business, and they were Spanish speaking, so maybe there was some translation that was lost from the broker to them as well. But it's tough for people to get insurance to make sure they can operate their business. So we're fortunate enough to have many Spanish speakers here. We have a very diverse culture here, so we speak a lot of different languages. And what we're really trying to build, Skip, is a place
Interesting.
for the underserved market to come to and be able to buy proper insurance, but just the right price at the right time for the right coverage and the right insurance carrier. As you know, in North Carolina or in California or in San Francisco, California, where I sit, there's probably different insurers that are really interested in that business. And with our AI tools and our technology, we're able to really expedite the process.
So because you're basically you're able to take a tremendous amount of friction out of the policy underwriting process, which
Yes.
now makes a tiny little policy. Maybe you don't make a ton of money, but you at least make enough to be able to cover your extremely reduced costs, right? And from your standpoint, we just want to get in, and now you get to be able to
Yeah.
practice land and expand.
Yeah, there's two things that I kind of stick out to me. The insurance brokerage business whole, we believe about 90% of all work that goes through the of handling an account at a traditional insurance broker is about 90% human interaction and 10% AI slash technology.
Mm,
We're trying to reverse that where it's 90% AI slash technology and 10% human interaction. We currently have a couple of our process procedures. We're at 97% automation, which makes it very, very
wow.
good in terms of speed of use. But what we really want to do is we really want to provide people are looking for insurance for a specific reason usually when they're under
Hmm.
a time crunch like that. And we're not trying to say, "Well, you have to do your general liability, workers comp, and your property, or we're not going to do it." Like, because that's the only way a broker could make money if they're bundling these together. We're past the least resistance. We're going to take care of you, right? And then when we come up and make life easy for you, you're going to want to give more and more business to us. And at 90% of it being done by AI and technology, we're actually not getting a huge loss by handling a $50, $100 account, right? So as we believe we grow, we've only been around 15 months, right? So as we grow, we really believe uh, our technology and AI infrastructure is going to be a differentiator in the marketplace.
So it's a multi-billion dollar industry.
Correct.
Obviously, that's just even commercial, right? Multi-billion, trillion,
Yes.
maybe, depending upon where
We
you can go.
we think there's 36 million underserved businesses in the United States.
36 million.
Mhm.
And you're focusing on small to medium business?
Small to medium business. We'll do
Okay.
anything. I mean, we're really here to be able to educate a underserved marketplace and educate them on what to buy, get them the right coverage at the right time at the right price.
So can you operate in like in Texas, which is where I
Yes.
am? And okay,
Yes.
it's
Can I
interesting.
can
I
I
just
can I
thought of
get you
some.
any insurance, Skip?
Well, not me. I don't necessarily need any, at least yet, not yet. But
Mhm.
I'm part of an organization. I'm a trustee of the Foundation for Better Business, and it's a offshoot of the Better Business Bureau in Texas. And Texas has, I think, the largest Better Business Bureau in the central area in the country. And one of the things that we want to do is continually promote opportunities for small to medium business to be able to
Yes.
let them grow. And what's interesting is the fact that I think the other aspect is, do I have to buy insurance from the broker that I happen to know that somebody knows? And I think what's happening is, it sounds like you guys are all about, no, we're going to make insurance, at least commercial insurance, borderless. It's
Correct.
not bound by, because all you got to do is, as long as what you're writing complies with the state regulations relative to what needs to happen, then it doesn't really matter where you're domiciled.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct. So
Okay.
the way you think about it, the way I think about it, Skip, is the this underserved market, they go to a local broker, and the local broker has a couple of markets they use. So they're not getting access to the full marketplace, right? So
Okay.
they're getting whatever the person knows in that town and or city, and then they're getting, if they might have three insurance companies, they might have a few more, but they're getting whatever that smaller broker can get,
Yeah,
right?
what the limited selection is.
Or they'll call a bigger broker who tries to turn this business away, I would say, and or it's definitely not handled by their top people because it, if you're making $100 on a policy, and you've got to speak to somebody 7 times and spend X amount of hours with them, right? You're not going to be making money. So they're trying to, the bigger companies are trying to figure out how they can automate it, I'd imagine, or how they can make it less burdensome for their people. But you still need people to communicate with people, right? So it's very hard to to try to fit this and to get them the service they're looking for. So that's why a lot of times they don't answer their phone, right? They're not going to call you back. So for small business owners that are looking for education and white glove service, I think will be the choice for them moving forward.
Well, they're not having what it sounds like is the other part of the unique value proposition is you don't have to take less.
Correct.
You can still have an exceptional customer experience. The reason being is we're cutting out all the cost associated with being able to do that, so that that final mile, if you will, which we talked about in other podcasts recently, is that customer intimate final mile you now can afford to deliver. It's
Yes.
if you can't because everything you're doing is analog, then that's a problem.
Yes.
So you just started, been around 15 months. You're literally building right now your go-to-market team, including your marketing team and your sales team. Tell us a little bit about the either the opportunities and or the challenges that you're experiencing right now and being able to build out both of those.
What's amazing to me, Skip, is the San Francisco area here is like the hotbed for AI. It's got to be the AI capital of the world. Every restaurant you go to, everybody walking in the street, everyone's talking about AI. It reminds me of the early 2000s when it was the .com boom, right?
Oh, I lived through it.
Yeah.
Absolutely lived through it. Yeah.
So I'm getting applications for positions from people all around the world that want to jump in and want to get to San Francisco and be in this, what are they, the gold rush 3.0 now, whatever we want to call what's going on now. And the resumes I'm looking at, Skip, are incredible. Like I'm a Chico State grad, it's Cal State Chico grad. I've never interviewed more people with symbols, with MIT, Dartmouth, Harvard, colleges I've never heard of in different countries that are unbelievably just the smartest of smart people looking to join a startup in we work long hours here, Skip. I'm like, we work from like 5 a.m. till 8 p.m. I'm in. We pay this. That's less than I'm making. I know. I don't care. I want in. It's just it's.
So you're all into the you're doing the whole 996 thing, right? 996 days a week, right? That's standard fare, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's equity being offered,
yes.
right? But I think but you're getting resumes that you had total unexpected to get, right? Because everybody wants to be on a cutting edge AI application.
And I think they believe that this industry is ripe for the picking and like it's a good fit. Like, so we're an AI company, 100% AI company. Everything we'll ever do is based on the foundation of AI, but we sell insurance. Like the AI is helping us be bigger, faster, stronger, right? That's what it's doing, right? So it's going to enable people like myself who are in sales to sell at a clip that no standard broker could sell at, because we're not doing any of the administrative tasks. We're not doing any of the stuff that we're probably not good at, right? I mean, we're good at talking to people, selling and learning and solving problems for clients. Are we great at doing audits? Are we great at putting Excel spreadsheet together of 400 vehicles and putting them in a spreadsheet? Probably not. You probably find better people for that. So we find we're really maximizing our people's talent, doing what they're best at.
So how many ultimately you're going to launch or bring on salespeople? How many salespeople you're going to bring on initially?
We're going to start with a team of 10.
Okay. And are they all going to be based in your offices there in San Francisco? So work from office.
Yeah. So we'll all be based here in San Francisco, and everyone's in the office. Everyone's in the office today. It's funny, I was thinking about this a lot lately, which was, a lot of people in the Silicon Valley complain, I can't get my people back to work. I can't get my people back to work. Like so many of my commercial real estate friends and in other businesses, they're having a hard time getting. Do you think we could do 3-2, Skip? You think maybe what if we do a rotation where you go 2 and then the next week 3? We say 5 days a week. 5 to 8, and or whatever, and they go, I'll be
Yeah,
there.
996.
And
It's
yeah,
996
exactly.
in the office.
And it's just so funny that people like don't even bat an eye at it. And I'm just sitting in my mind going, God, I've been talking to people for the last 10 years and it was hard to get people to, and these people are like, hey, I'll work extra hours. So what's interesting about it is we're taking this tech kind of startup mind frame and putting it in a business that did not work, does not work in the same conductive manner. And so we're attracting people without insurance backgrounds that are tremendously smart, right? And they're able to learn insurance, but we're bringing like a different type of person into the insurance business, which I think is really cool.
Well, which is interesting because I wonder, I mean, there are correlations, I'm sure, to other industries, right, that
Yes.
have been so manual, an arduous process to be able to get the work done, right, the job to be done. It's very repetitive in many cases, but every state has its own nuanced regulations, right?
Yes.
But that's all online, right? Now with AI, you have the ability to basically democratize the process of being able to get insurance, right? So,
100%.
and you guys are Y Combinator, yeah?
We're a Y Combinator company. Very helpful, great partners. I mean, they've been great with getting us set up with some vendors, and we communicate a lot with each other. So when we might need some assistance or other people need assistance, we're all willing to help each other. It's like being in a brotherhood or a sisterhood of friends.
So you've got a corner, your cup overflows with what you, at least on paper, looks like really good candidates. Okay. How are you going to choose?
That's funny because we talk about it, and it's working with I'm more seasoned in my years here of work experience, and I'm working with the younger generation of people, and
Hmm.
they're funny how they operate, and they're thinking different than my generation of people. So we really have a very flat, I would call it a democratic process how we choose. We really have them meet with the key people of our organization, and we let everybody, anybody interested in meeting with them, then we kind of go in a room and we hash it out. And we say, we think Skip's the right person for this job, and we move forward. Right. Since we got our Series A funding, we're really focused on how are we going to get what we're doing today 10 times, 100 times faster with not having to hire hundreds of people, right? So our whole mind, everyone has kind of a different mindset than you would at a traditional insurance brokerage company. It's okay. We proved that we know what we're doing, and we can actually make some money doing what we're doing, right? How are we going to take this tenfold, right? So we're trying to bring in people that have the mindset. How are we going to get this company to $1 billion and as fast as we can? It's a
So
different
what's the
mindset
role?
than a traditional insurance broking, a
Right.
COO or something
Well,
typical
what's
insurance.
the role if you're selling to small to medium business and they can do it online? What's the role of the salesperson?
So we're actually explaining coverages. We're being their trusted
Okay.
advisor, right?
Okay.
The most people, and this is what gets confused. They don't know what they need, right? So it's like I was talking to somebody at a childcare, and I was going over some of the keys to what they need for insurance. And I'm like, you actually need to get something called a student accident coverage for that. They'd never heard of it, been in business for 20 years, right? So a lot of people don't understand what they need. And with our AI tools, if you obviously have to be licensed, but when you're licensed, you're able to use these AI tools, and it will tell us exactly what we need. Now, I've been doing this a long time, so I know I know a lot of what people need.
Right.
We train everyone how to use our tools and systems and all the data points we've already tracked to be able to help them best serve the clients. And we're
Yeah,
going
I
to
would
get
think that.
what's great is we're getting better every day. Every day we're
Right.
gathering more and more data, right? So
Well, yeah.
as I was talking to Dakota, who's our CEO, and I was like, the amount that we learn every week. I mean, we meet on Friday nights at like 7 every week, and we talk about the week, and at the progression, it's like a month's progression anywhere else, right? And if we think we're slowing down at all and then we'll have a meeting, an ad hoc meeting, and say, hey, we need to get here by Friday. It doesn't look like we're here. What do we need to do to get there, right? And what's been tremendously beneficial for me too, being a non-tech person, my career, insurance brokerage only, is,
Mhm.
we have different engineers. And I was telling one about some issues we were having. Literally within 2 hours, they fixed the issue, and the whole system works better now, right? So the speed of use and what we're doing is nobody has an ego here in terms of like, we're doing it my way, or I don't want it. No, let's do it the best way for the client, number one. And two, Let's do it the best way where we can build bigger, faster, and stronger.
So it sounds like you would also be a tremendous asset for like CPA firms and small CPAs, right? Let's partner. You need insurance. CPA doesn't sell insurance. What they don't want is they don't want a ton of money to have to go to the insurance company and to the insurance premiums, right? And
Mhm.
so there's an option there that says, look at these guys, go to Harper Insurance, see what you can do. By the way, I don't have to explain it to you; they'll explain it to you, right?
Exactly.
So, so I think that there's a and there may even be a referral capability for the channel, right?
Yes.
That now, just like any other, just like general practitioners now have become really general contractors in the healthcare field, right? It's all about who do I refer to and what other services can I offer in order to be able to make up for the lost revenue, because insurance companies aren't paying general practitioners like they used to. Okay.
Right.
That's interesting.
It is.
That's
I
interesting.
think what else I was thinking about is the insurance brokerage business whole has a, I would call it an age modeling issue, right? If you take a look at the
Mm,
traditional insurance brokers, they really skew older age, right? So anywhere from, we believe anywhere from 55 to 60 is probably where the majority, and that up is probably where the majority of the business is being controlled nowadays. And as you think of a traditional insurance brokerage firm, you build a book of business, it's called, and you service clients for, it's that you pretty much, you get paid what your book of business is, it's called. You get a commission, and the people have been servicing these clients forever. There's no real reason for them to retire, so people are retiring at later and later age in our business. And what's going to happen, in my opinion, it's going to skip a generation. Meaning, like, if I'm running my own company and I brought, let's say, my son in, right? They're not transferring the book until they're mid 80s or until something
right.
unfortunate happens, right?
Right.
It's going to have to go to the grandkids now, because, and what's going to happen, what I see is the way people buy, I believe, is going to change, right? Those people like to sit down, have dinner, and write on a napkin, hey, if you can give me this price, I'll do it, buddy. Versus, send it to me on my phone or don't talk to me. I don't want to meet, like, I don't want to meet with you. Like, time's money. Like, if you could do bigger, faster, stronger, better, I'd rather do it that way.
So if I need to buy $1 million liability, general liability coverage, right? Can I buy it cheaper through you than I could through a broker?
Oh, we are brokers, so it's the same,
Well,
but
I mean, through my uncle through my uncle Bobby,
yeah,
right, and so forth. I mean,
so it all depends, right? So, by what I kind of mean by making sure that at the right time and going to the right insurance carrier, that you really want to find the right insurance carrier. They have different rates, right? So there's no way I can guarantee I could be less expensive, right? There's no way, because there's so many different insurance carriers, right? But what we're going to be telling everyone is we're going to find the right carrier for you where you're located, right? At the time you need it, and we're going to explain to you properly. But it's really hard to judge. And so what else happens, Skip, a lot is people sell different stuff, right? I could sell you one policy that's more like a Cadillac, and someone could sell you more of a less expensive car, but so you're not comparing the same, right? That happens a
I
lot in
got it.
insurance, and unfortunately, the small and middle size companies in America, they don't, they're getting underserved, and they're buying wrong policy. We see it all the time. They're buying the wrong policy. They're buying the wrong coverage. They're they're um not
They're
prop
buying what their broker knows,
Yeah,
not what
and they're
they
not
need.
following the contractual agreements they have. So we're getting the agreements like, well, you need this. Well, no one ever told me. Well, I sent it to my broker. Well, I don't know what to tell you, but this is what you need. This is what we need to cover you for.
Well, I mean, the company I was with previously, that we had that all the time. We would get insurance requirements.
Yes.
And it was funny because we would just simply send it to our insurance
Yes.
broker and say, "Are we covered?"
Yeah.
Right? And the insurance broker would say, "Well, maybe," or whatever. And that might take, to your point, that might take 3 or 4 days. I don't have 3 or 4 days. I've got to get this contract back to them. And oh, by the way, their expectation is that I am covered.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if you're telling me that I'm 1 million short here, or 5 million under general liability short here, or I don't have key man insurance or anything like that, then I need to know this now.
Yes.
And so if they send you a contract, tell me if I'm wrong, you can scan the contract, right? And
Our
say,
AI
and
tool does
immediately
it
come
for
back.
us. Our AI tools do it for us, and it will tell us exactly what to need and make sure we meet all the contractual agreements 100%. The people looking for insurance usually are trying to get on a job site And I just had one call the other day. They're looking to get on the Denver and the Denver Convention Center. Like I
Mhm.
can't get in. They just so like they need insurance. My insurance didn't qualify for me to do this or what have you. So we're kind of so we do very good at this, somebody needs insurance like this. But I can't tell you how many times we see policies that don't meet the needs of the clients that we're speaking to, right?
Right.
So we're
So
doing path of least resistance. We're not asking for all coverages. We just really want to satisfy their need at the time, and then them become better consultants for them.
so as you're launching this and you're wanting to scale, right? You what is your biggest messaging challenge right now?
I think our biggest messaging challenge, people hear that we're an AI broker and they think there's something nefarious about it or think they're maybe not talking to humans, right? We're really using
Hmm.
AI as a tool to help our people be better.
Understood.
Yeah,
So
so I
what
think
is that? So is that what your
there's a
messaging
negative
is to?
connotation with AI. Sorry, there's a little bit
But
native.
is that what your message is to Joe's Body Shop in Wilmington, South Carolina?
Yeah.
That what's your message to them? And do they even care? If you respond within minutes and can basically say, here's your solution that you need to look for. Do they care that you're AI driven?
They don't care. They're usually looking for immediate need. So they want it the COI or they need coverage to give to their landlord. What they
Hmm.
what the message really is, we want to be the voice to the insurance community, to the insurance marketplace for small and middle-sized businesses. And we're going to do it as fast as possible. One, two, we're going to get the best possible price. So Skip, you're asking what they're looking for. They're looking for the least expensive coverage that covers them for what they need. That's what they're looking for, right? Right.
And they're looking for a fast response.
Correct.
So
Correct. They're all
your value prop is we're going to be responsive, we're going to be complete, and we're going to be competitive.
correct. 100%.
Okay. By the way, I'm going to
A
charge you
lot
for
of times
that.
they
By the
want
way.
it in 24 hours or they want it
Yeah.
now. And sometimes we can give it to them now if we could do it. If it's more simpler risks, the tougher type risks usually take a little more time to get the proper quotes back. But we've
Right.
done it quickly for people for sure.
That's amazing. So then, what is going to be your number one sales challenge?
Number one sales challenge for us is our infrastructure is keeping up with what we can do from a sales perspective, and then being able to make sure we can provide a customer service experience at a 10 on a scale of 10, right? So as you bring in all these accounts, we're bringing in tons of accounts every day. There's a renewal period, right? One thing about insurance, the majority of insurance renews in a year, right? So as we get this big influx of people, we
Mm.
prove the model works, but now we need to build the infrastructure to make sure we can scale the volume we want to scale. So our biggest kind of challenge, I believe, is meeting the expectations that we're setting, as we said when we sell the policy, right, on the renewal phase. And then actually in the renewal phase, we believe that they're going to want to do more and more business with us because we make it easy for them. So that's kind of our biggest challenge, is making sure our infrastructure can handle the flow that we're going to be
Yeah.
bringing. And
You
that's
want to
why
make sure that
all these people have done this.
right,
People have already done this, have taken
right.
startup with multi-billion-dollar companies, and we're bringing those people in to help us kind of build the infrastructure.
They know what scale looks like,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So they know how to build that. I mean, you to your point, your biggest challenge is going to be your own success
Correct.
because you just want to make sure that you don't outkick your coverage,
Correct. 100.
right?
And we're very, we're very aware of that. So we are being, so as we think about this, when we bring in that person that's taken this companies from, startup to multi-billion dollars in built infrastructure, we're also going to be putting like a co-person in that understands the insurance business from head to toe, that can work side by side with this person to make sure that insurance is like a different language, right? So if you built it a software company or a company up to $1 billion, doesn't necessarily mean you can follow process procedures that you have to do from an insurance perspective. So we're really conscious of marrying the two together. We're a tech company, but we are insurance
That
professionals.
happens to sell insurance. So
Yes.
when you look at it from the standpoint of in most, I look at a book that was written that became very seminal to how I view business, was The Discipline of Market Leaders, written by a couple of McKinsey consultants, Reese and Tracy, wrote it, I don't know, 25 years ago. And they basically said, if you want to lead in an industry, you can choose one of three disciplines: technological innovation, customer intimacy, or operational excellence. Okay. And what was interesting was that you got to pick one, but you got to be really good at the other two, but only to the extent that they support the primary. Okay. If you try to be an industry leader in two or three, you're going to fail.
Right.
Just overall, you're going to fail. Right. And so when I look at to me, maybe the biggest impact of AI, and I really believe this for small business. I just spoke to a small business group and said, when you look at that framework of operational excellence, customer intimacy, and technological innovation, what AI has done is it has now enabled every single small business to be operationally excellent. And so now you get to not worry about that. You let AI do a lot of the work, this manual work, the repetitive work, the deterministic work, if you will, from an AI language standpoint. And you let that happen. Now you get to focus on technological innovation or innovation and or customer intimacy. Well, what's interesting is that you're now taking the insurance industry and you're saying our primary focus is operational excellence. Okay. And because it's operational excellence, we've got to be as good. We got to be really good at customer intimacy in order to be able to not make our operational excellence a thing.
Right.
And then because you're operationally excellent, that actually opens up new avenues of innovation, right? That if we can do it
Absolutely.
here, can we do it in other ancillary industries to be able to do the same thing? So that's really kind of an extraordinary opportunity to your point. But, and I think this is the case in a lot of old line industries.
Yeah.
And that is that there's this opportunity to make, where they were customer intimate. I mean, you look at insurance, it's not technological innovation. It's not. And customer intimacy is Bob's uncle, who's an insurance broker, to your point, who basically got into it. And I remember this when I was in my 20s. Somebody said, if you really want an industry you need to get into, it's in insurance. Because if you're really good with people and you sell good policies, you'll have an annuity for the rest of your life. And that's what's
100.
happening right
Yes.
now,
Yeah.
right? And I thought about that again. I thought, well, I couldn't pass the exams now, um, but that's really kind of interesting that you're demonstrating you can do this. This
Yes.
can be done. This is what AI is going to enable in these kinds of industries, right? And so, if anybody that has been displaced by AI, and I'm not one of those believers that AI is going to displace everybody. AI is going to displace people that don't know how to leverage AI,
Right.
for sure. But if you've been displaced, then now you can look at, okay, what industry in your own personal experience has been really slow to evolve. Let's find an AI component, or let's see where AI can have a massive impact on being able to do that. And the beauty of it is, today is the worst day AI is ever going to be.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if it isn't there now, it will be by the time you finally formulate your idea.
And you just think so, like these brokers have such process and procedure set up. They're gonna have a hard time getting the AI to use its full potential because of the walls they've built up, right? And what's really exciting, and then the AI has a negative condensation, right? What do you think at a large company when you hear AI? What do you think? They're trying to cut people and have bots do it, right? We're
Do
using
more with less.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing it the opposite way. Like, how are we going to empower our people to be better, bigger, stronger, and faster? How? And I'm constantly meeting with engineers talking about ways we could do that, right? So it's just so different, and the mindset's different. We really are, and even though we're an AI company, we are in the insurance business, and our goal is to provide the best possible product and services to the underserved marketplace. We just our messaging is so much different than I think messaging getting from that other side from these other companies when it comes to AI.
Well, it's interesting when you're hiring for salespeople, and I wrote an article about this, I don't know, 10 years ago, I guess, and it didn't resonate with anybody, but it was what I was seeing. And that is that more and more organizations are going to be hiring for marketing, copywriters, storytellers, producers. Okay. And I think in sales, what's great is that you're going to be able to hire for a different kind of DNA, which basically says, I get that you're a Harvard MBA or that you're a Cal Poly computer scientist. I get all of that. But let me ask you a question. Tell me a story. So I'll just share this with you. In 20, 30 years, I was hiring salespeople or more. I would always ask them the same question. And that is, if money were no object, what would you spend 10 hours a day doing? And what was interesting was they'd never, as long as it wasn't unethical, illegal, or immoral, right? What they never really understood was I didn't care what it was.
Yeah.
I wanted to uncover two things. Number one, did they have something they were passionate about? And then number two, I would say, I want to be a fly fishing guide. Really? Tell me more about that. And then what I was listening for was their ability to tell a compelling story. Because if
Yeah.
you can't tell a compelling story, you can't sell effectively, in my opinion. So now what's wonderful about what I'm thinking in my head, what's happening with you is that what's the number one thing that AI is not yet ready to replace? And that is, to your point, I'm not sure what I need.
Yeah.
I don't know what I need. So tell me the story. Tell me the story about why, and tell me the story about me understanding that you need this. I need this. Oh, I didn't know I needed that. Yeah. Or if you don't have that, you may not need it right now, but tomorrow, literally, like the next
Yeah.
day, if you
Exactly.
want this kind of business, you're going to have this. Okay. Or somebody said, hey, I need this. So your ability to you now become, you're operationally excellent as a company, but you now become Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A is able to hire really, really wonderful people, servant heart people, because those people don't have to worry about the operation of delivering on the order that customer just placed. So
Right.
now those people that you're hiring, it's all about storytelling. It's all about empathy. It's all about being able to explain things in an easy fashion, right? And so forth, and not having to understand all the different nuances of the technology relative to writing a policy. That's
100.
exciting.
It's exciting. And what else is exciting that I've been in insurance brokerage a long time. I've hired many, many people. I've hired a ton of new salespeople to the industry, as well as some people that have been in the business for a while. I'm talking to, like I was telling you, as somebody get their master's in AI engineering from MIT, and that person's trying to tell me why they would be a good fit selling insurance, selling, $500 policies, right? It's like, and it's computing in my mind. I'm like, this person, like, and then they're telling me these stories, what Kim you're saying, and the enthusiasm, the passion they have to try to disrupt it, the overused term, to disrupt an industry. The passion in their eyes is unbelievable. Like, they are like, I want in. What do I need to do? When can I start? It's going to bring a whole new group of people into the business that would never get into this business, right? People like that, those people weren't coming into this business because it wasn't technology advanced enough for them. And I think
Yeah.
we're opening ourselves up to a whole new crop of people that I think can actually change the industry moving forward.
Well, and it may have been that they could work on it in the industry, but it didn't give them client-facing opportunity,
Right.
customer-facing opportunity. And the other thing too is I think that when you work through the storytelling aspect of it, and you're able to have that kind of a conversation with somebody, everybody that has been in the business world, the working world for a while, they either know somebody that's had a hard time situation with the healthcare industry, or they've had a hard time with the insurance industry, or they've had a hard time with the financial industry, right?
Yes.
So everybody can relate to the problem and not just incremental, but the exponential advancements that you guys are offering.
You're 100% right. I mean, I'm telling you that there are two founders thought about this idea when they had such a horrible time buying insurance.
Hmm.
I how could this be so hard? It's not, and they start thinking like it's just a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of this is all like stuff that's printed. It's not like we're creating something out of we're
Right.
making something new. It's just this is just hard to gather all the data if you're doing it if you're doing it instead of an AI tool, right?
Well, it is, and yeah, it's the problems have been around for a long time. The difference is AI, right?
Yes.
And now because AI, at the end of the day, any investment in anything is really just two pieces, two parts of the equation. It is the math and it is commitment. Does the math work? Well,
Correct.
before AI wouldn't have made technology a math. I mean, there was no AI,
Yeah.
so it didn't work to try to do something. I could have made it more efficient, but it would the juice wouldn't have been worth the squeeze, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So now the math works. So now
Yeah.
the question is the personal commitment. And in any kind of a scenario where you're going to change it, disrupt an industry, your personal commitment has got to be all in 1000% that this is a passion, right? This is not just a thing that you want to do. I don't want to get in this to try to, exit it at $5 billion unicorn or no, I have to have passion. And
Correct.
that's when you're going to get that's why you got your Series A. That's why you'll continue to get, the funding that you need because and it's not one or the other.
You're
If the
correct.
math works, but the commitment's not there, no big deal. It's not going to happen. If the personal commitment is there, but the math just doesn't work, it's not going to happen. So when they both come together, you have Harper Insurance.
Absolutely. Couldn't put it better myself, Skip.
So as we close out, and again, thank you so much for your time. And I'm it's one of those things where I'm really think it's serendipitous that we were able to meet and to be able to do this because you were just starting out.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's talking about those that are already getting press and so forth, and they just became a unicorn. Well, you know what? We may be talking today before as a unicorn that's
Yeah.
in the early gestation stages, and so forth. So you're in the position of the CRO of your company. You've done it before. This is all about. I mean, this podcast is really focused on small to medium business and being an encourager to them that says you can now do this. What would your big time one thing as encouragement to anybody that's looking to start?
Yeah. I would say from a small business perspective, right? The industry is not treated the people kindly, right? And I've seen
Mhm.
it from that end, right? So I would say to all the people that are in this position where our founders are in, where you're getting ignored by the insurance brokers and not getting proper knowledge, give us a shot. Reach out. You can call me directly, and my name, my number's on the site. We will help you through through the journey of buying insurance and educate you on what you're actually needing insurance for and what it's actually covering, right? So what we find a lot, Skip, is that people don't understand what they're self-insuring and what they're actually insuring.
Right,
We
right,
really want somebody to understand what happens when this loss happens
right,
and let you make the decision. Well, do you want to buy insurance? This is what it's going to be. If you want to self-insure, good luck, right?
right.
But we want to educate them.
So come out of your industry, come out of your company for a minute,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
Your role as a CRO, you're starting something, it's exciting, and so forth. What's the insight that you can give fellow CROs
Oh, yeah.
that are in that same startup mode? What's the insight that you can share with them to make sure that there is no failure to launch?
Yeah. So I would say number one is you got to get your hands dirty. Since I've been
Mm,
here, I have sold every type of way you can sell. I have sat with engineers for a couple of days. They actually taught me how to code, which people won't believe, but I was just talking to the computer in a certain way to get it to code for me.
oh yeah,
I've sat and actually interviewed every single person here because I want to know what the makeup is, why they're passionate, why do they work 15-hour days, right? And my biggest advice for you is get your hands or get in, learn every aspect of the business like it's the back of your hand. So now I know exactly when something is off. I know exactly where to go, who to go to, and I've communicated them with the way that I understand the framework of everything we're doing. Right? I might not know how to officially code. I can write code, but
but you
just
know what's
like I
possible,
understand it now. I
right?
understand it way
Yeah.
better, right? And engineers, I was always intimidated by engineers of trying to get too involved in what they're doing, but kind of sitting down and learning from them has really helped me. Right. And just my overall understanding and by getting your hands dirty, and I've done every single aspect of our, what I'd call a sales cycle from the engineers to the service team, the operations to sales to the whole ball of wax here of learning exactly what goes on in their day really helps me out from a perspective of how to get things done. So that'd be
Mhm.
my overall advice would be get your hands dirty, go talk to everybody, understand what everybody does in the company, and it will build this better help everybody when you go through the circle of closing a sale.
That's awesome. Nick, thank you. This was
I really
enjoyable.
appreciate it, Skip. Hope I didn't talk
Uh,
too much.
well, you probably did, but that's okay. You had to in order to make sure that I didn't, and so forth. So again, I appreciate your time very much. Good, best of luck. we may come back and do this again in about 6 months, and get an update as to, so we had all these plans and all these wonderful dreams and so forth. We may find out you could only hire 3 people and, whatever, or that you've gone from 10 to 20 already,
Yep.
and you guys are killing it, which I hope is the case. Thank you again.
Awesome.
God
Yeah,
bless you.
really appreciate your time,
Godspeed on
Skip.
your journey.
You too.
Godspeed.
Thank you, sir.